Kamiko.
Nikki.
And it's Marcia, and welcome to the LoveChat podcast. Well, ladies, we're back again to discuss our love of all things like
virtual dating,
love of a good twist out,
love of siblings,
and love of day drinking. But
Absolutely.
Before we get into all of that and what we love, ladies, it's my favorite portion of the podcast, and you know what that is.
Cocktail of the week.
Little different cocktail this time, but hey.
Yeah, so, as you know, we are recording remotely, and so we're going to each give our cocktail of the week. It can be alcoholic or non-alcoholic, but we're going to see what each of our hosts are drinking on. We still want you to drink responsibly, and we're still going to post it to our social media platform. So hopefully you're still drinking a cocktail or two along with us.
Yes.
So, Jelani, what are you drinking on?
I am drinking a classic I'm almost done with it. Coconut rum and cranberry.
Oh.
Oh.
Coconut rum and cranberry.
I need a little something.
I've had that before.
I need to put a little vodka in there with it or something. Coconut rum is just, that don't do nothing for me.
You know how I feel.
We know you don't like that coconut.
Yeah, coconut.
Even though I found a bottle of Ciroc coconut, and I was like, how'd that get in here? Somebody must have left it.
Oh, drink it. Bring it to me.
Save it and invite me over post-corona.
Oh, Lord. When will that be?
So, Kamiko, what are you drinking on?
So, I guess Marcia and I are going to have to do this together.
Oh, yeah. Kamiko and Marcia, what are y'all
Right.
How we did that? I don't know how to. Oh, man. There it
there
is.
You go.
Yeah. There it is.
We are drinking Stella Rosa Pineapple. It's
there it is.
Yep. Too.
It is. Look, I'm on the last little bit of the bottle. I was like, let's lock this on out. Cheers, honey.
Cheers.
And Nikki?
I am drinking non-alcoholic today. Cranberry juice.
Aww.
Cranberry juice.
Is that your favorite juice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also have my water.
Oh, that's a cute bottle.
It is a cute bottle.
Well,
okay.
It's not fun not being with you guys.
We don't get to clink, but cheers, ladies.
Cheers, ladies.
So we are always crushing on something. So, Jelani, what are you crushing on this week?
So I have been finding time to do a little bit of personal development throughout my workday. So I've been really impressed by some of the bloggers or influencers who've been posting really good content or connecting with other bloggers or other influencers and like having really good, robust conversations about various things. It might have been tips, it might be strategies. I'm finding in this time that people are more willing to share and kind of tell you what's going on. I was connecting with somebody and they were talking about this particular platform that we all use every day, but how like we could potentially leverage that for the podcast. And I was just like, I never would have thought of that. But it was just like a conversation I don't feel like people would have made time for individually, one-on-one to have. So I've been really impressed and really appreciative of the bloggers, influencers, or just everyday people. We're all everyday people, right? Who get on and just share some good knowledge. And it's been free. And it's been fun. Well, oh yeah.
Every day people.
Oh, I was thinking the John Legend version.
Yeah.
So that is my crush.
Aren't they from Atlanta?
They are. Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Nikki, what are you crushing on?
I am crushing on playlist.
Oh, that's a good one.
Playlist. And I just been listening to them and just like jamming and like, oh man, I love this song. So I've been playing.
Yes, from all the IG battles and stuff, and then they go put those playlists out. And there's so many songs that you hadn't even thought about in so long.
In decades,
and they still
frankly.
hit.
I did my gospel this morning. I was about crying. John P.
Oh, Lord. Have you tore up? Yeah.
Did they do a playlist for that?
Yeah, they're doing a playlist for everything. Everything.
You my playlist girl. You supposed to let me know.
Okay.
Jelani sends all the iTunes playlists out.
Right.
Let me write a note to myself.
Yep. Playlist will send.
Playlist.
Yes.
Send playlist. Okay.
Marcia, what you crushing on?
I am crushing on delivered wine. I think you and I have the same crush and taste this week because we are like on the same
What's going on?
page.
Yeah, because mine was Stella Rosa.
Yes.
This has been my coronavirus find. I'm sure plenty of people been on it. Shout out to Alicia, who just told me today that Kroger has them for $8.
Yeah.
And if you want to go, I don't know anything. Ibotta, have y'all heard of that? Ibotta, where it's like a Ebates kind of thing.
Yeah.
So she was like, I got them at Kroger for $8, and then I went and got $6 back from Ibotta.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so
I think Ibotta allows you to scan your receipt, if I remember correctly.
Something like that, yeah. I just downloaded the app today.
My sister got me watermelon today.
And what else did you get, Nikki?
Air fryer.
Oh, yay!
Yes.
You know, we've been air frying away.
Yeah.
Right. But I was gonna say, so with Corona, stumbled across, like probably on IG or something like that, this San Antonio winery that delivers wine to you. So I'm normally a Merlot, Malbec, those type of dry red wines, but I have been on this Stella Rosa. I mean, I drink Stella Rosa because it's sweet wine. I'll drink it sometimes, but I think we ordered like the 12 bottle pack. So we have been on it, like the pineapple, the watermelon. I still think my favorite is black.
Which I still haven't had yet. It's in the pack. I just haven't gotten it open yet.
I think that's still my favorite one, but we normally get it from, like you said, Kroger or Publix or something like that. But I just happened to order this off that special. So, and I thought it was pretty cool to have wine delivered to your house.
And I've been ordering it too. This is my third order. Because I ended up ordering, they had a 6-pack. And now they have like a Mother's Day special. So I bought some for my mom and mother-in-law because I think they really enjoy it. And then they had a bubbly sale. So I bought that too.
And I haven't tried their bubbly.
So I'll let you know. But I'm sure it's great too.
It's all bubbly, but I guess that's a little extra bubbly.
Which y'all know how I feel about my bubbles.
We know.
How much ginger ale can I add to the wine?
No, I'm not adding any. You don't need to add anything to this.
I will say this. Once Corona's over, I'll have to make you guys the sangria. Because, you know, they have all those recipes, the Stella Rosa recipes or whatever, and there's a really good sangria on there. So we'll have to make that.
You don't have to wait till each other. Just go ahead and make it. Put our jars out on the porch.
Outside the door.
Go ride by and pick it up.
Look,
and then we can drink it together on the podcast.
Hey, Jelani, we can also get our sauces too.
Yeah.
You what?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, you know what? Y'all could just come by and do this all.
Yeah.
When is this episode coming out?
We're going to have a switcheroo.
When is this episode? Thursday. Oh, my birthday on May 2nd.
We need to drive by, blow the horns.
We can ride by. Yeah.
Ride by.
Don't do like my neighbor and get out and hug us though, because that's pointless.
Y'all could ride by and throw my gifts out.
Okay. Got it. It's something.
Our crush for the episode.
So we're gonna do a really quick love letter. We've gotten a few of them that are kind of along the same vein, so I'm just gonna throw this out to you guys.
Okay.
A lot of people, especially younger people, but even a lot of people seem to have gone back to parents' homes. Have you guys seen a lot of that?
Like permanently?
No, because of Corona.
Oh.
So they can be around other people and not necessarily be completely isolated and alone. A lot of people have gone back to their family home, which if they are in a relationship means that, you know, a lot of parents have been like, you can't leave here to go see them. Nope. If you go over there to see them, you stay over there with them. You're not coming back in here because sometimes parents are sick. I saw one letter where a sibling is really sick, has, you know, pre-existing conditions. They're like, nope, you can't. So what do you guys think about that when the person you're in a relationship is like, I want to see you, I need to see you not coming out. Like, how do you keep a relationship going in this coronavirus life stage? If you can, so that's the big one. How do you, so even if it's not that, but if you're in a relationship with somebody, how do you keep it going when you're in quarantine?
I think you just have to be creative. Like we all have had to do. I mean, this is something that no one in the world has ever, experienced. And so you have to be creative. You have to think outside the box. I still think that you need to, I think Jelani mentioned virtual dating and her love of. You've got to do that kind of thing because, and if your person that you're dating doesn't understand that you don't want to get your parents sick, then that ain't the person for you. You need to check him. Right. You need to check him because, you're trying to keep your parents or your family or whomever you're staying with.
Yourself,
you're trying to keep
because some people
or yourself
are just at home or whatever, like, and not coming out for whatever reasons, their own personal reasons. And you just, like, how are you keeping this relationship going? And to your point, for me, it's like, this is going on. We have to bring some maturity here too, right? Like that has to be part of this relationship. You're going to see a lot of people's true colors because the truth of the matter is, if you want me to come out in the middle of a pandemic just for whatever needs you might need, then maybe we need to work on some maturity here. And maybe this person isn't the person for you because maybe they're not making good decisions.
Exactly. And if y'all are that hard up to get together or to be together or to get your rocks off or whatever you got to do, then like Mama said, you need to be staying over there with them.
Exactly. Because you can akin it to like war, like if you go off to war, what are you going to do? Like we in a health war, like a.
Right. So, if you in war, you writing letters.
Yeah, writing letters.
Y'all got email, y'all got FaceTime. It ain't even like wars.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Y'all better
can still
be sexting or something.
Connect, but you acting like you're gonna die. It's not gonna be like people who go off.
Y'all better be creative. Bow chicka bow bow.
Look, seriously, because some of these teenagers acting like they about to die for real.
But it's a great time to really get to know.
I got one.
Each other and build a strong foundation and
right. And make sure your relationship is based on something real.
Yeah.
Y'all better love is blinded. Be in them pods.
In them pods, yeah.
No, get to know each other. See if you really like each other.
What you think, Jelani? You quiet over there.
All quiet over there.
She knows she's struggling the most. She like the physical connection. I'm not saying like that. I'm just saying.
I was like, well, dang.
Be in the physical presence of someone.
I do. I like to be around people. I do think it's a really good time, like we've all said, to just kind of really get to know somebody. And I think you have to stop and it forces us all to stop and figure out what is most important. Whereas before, it's easy to go over to somebody's house, cuddle, sit there, watch TV, Netflix, and chill, go out, take pictures of my food while I'm out, talk to my friends while we're out. And so then you don't have to have that tougher conversation. You don't have to say, well, what do you think about this? Because there's only so much staring at each other you can do on the computer, right? At some point, you're going to have an actual conversation. And frankly, that's something that a lot of our younger people don't know how to do. They don't know how to have a regular conversation. They just know how to text one another. And eventually that gets old. There's only so much Snapchat, Instagram, and all these things that they can do. And frankly, most people don't know how to really date. So, there's that piece.
Learn a new skill.
Yeah, but I would say that there are a lot of people our age range that don't know how to date.
Absolutely, learn a new skill.
Right. So it forces us to figure out some things and to, I think, especially for like guys, a lot of guys struggle with taking the initiative and being creative as it is. And this, I just think is like, yo, bro, what you doing? Okay, I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Like,
Hey, look, you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if your friend did something and it worked, hey, why not? You know what I mean? But there is no one size fits all for people.
Right.
Got to cater to the person you with.
Conversation is
Yeah.
Really good.
So,
well,
that's what we think.
We hope we helped everybody who is, corona quarantine from their boo. And
be creative.
Yeah. Be thoughtful. Be mature.
Be safe.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's get into this love chat, Jillian.
Child.
So we open, we back. We don't want to
They open.
Right. But so the governor of the state of Georgia recently basically just said, open this stuff back up. Whoever dies, dies. Y'all just go back out there. It's going to be okay. But we know everybody's going to die, but it's okay. And that's what I feel like he said, even though I know those weren't his exact words. So basically, Governor Kemp for the state of Georgia, and we have been the laughing stock of the
world.
Exactly, has opened up the state of Georgia as of April 24th. Our hair salons, beauty salons, barber shops, tanning beds or tanning salons, golf courses, gyms, all of those kind of things were
bowling alleys,
open,
massage parlors.
Right. We're allowed.
And then as of the 27th,
a lot of our restaurants were allowed to be open. And so open as long as they followed the protocol that was issued by the state of Georgia, which we could talk about that because that is very far-fetched for most of those businesses to be able to do because there's nobody there to train them and teach them and hold them accountable for doing that.
Right.
Because they cannot get the equipment to do it effectively. And C, they are not trained or licensed to be people who ask people a health questionnaire. And then what do you do with that health questionnaire? How do you know if I'm lying? I mean, it's just too much. So it has been a you-know-what show.
I got emails from both Outback and Jason's Deli, like, we're open. And I'm sitting up here like, really?
And?
Yeah, and so I received emails too. Our gym sent us an email at first from LA Fitness saying they were going to be opening back up, but then I guess there was so much feedback that they
also couldn't get their trainers to come in.
Yes,
they couldn't get enough staff to come in.
On LA Fitness on Twitter, like, whoa.
Yes, and so they sent out another email saying, well, we're gonna wait a little while. So they pushed it back. So some businesses are taking the stand of saying, well, some of them are taking the stand of saying, I'm not gonna open. Like my church didn't open. Churches opened up. Our church
Planet
didn't
Fitness
open.
said no.
Planet Fitness said no. And then some of them were getting pushed back, and so then they kind of said, okay, well we'll wait a while. But shout out to the mayor of Atlanta because she has
Atlanta got a man named Keisha.
Okay, that girl Keisha.
I feel like
she's been making her rounds.
This is my land. This is my line in the sand, and I dare you to come across it. That's what I feel like she's saying.
Well, I think
Saturday she was like, "Oh, if you're in the nail salon right now, why don't you show your nail care professional these numbers because we've seen a spike in the last 24 hours."
Well, I think one of the best things that I've seen is some people posted the number to the governor's mansion and saying, "Hey, when can I take a tour of the governor's mansion? Because y'all said that we open." So when can I schedule my tour of my governor's mansions that I pay taxes at? And the people on the phone was like, "No, it's a pandemic." He said we open. So if we open, then we need to be able to come up in here.
Right. Now let's get it clear. He's saying certain things are open, but he didn't open up his government offices and things like that. So you know, we have to be smart about it.
Well,
is this really being smart about it?
He is doing it for reasons.
Oh, okay. I thought you said
we have to. No. We have to be smart about it.
Yeah, because the mayor of Columbus, Georgia, she's running for one of the Senate seats, and she was just like, the Republicans did not handle money well in Georgia. They don't have enough to pay for the unemployment benefits.
Well, they put a cap on it, and you have to change an amendment in the state constitution in order to fund unemployment in the state.
So they opened the businesses up so they don't have to be, it's not on them. It's not on the state of Georgia to be. So that's why he's still closed because he ain't got to do nothing.
Right. So you're not going to get any more unemployment because your place of work or whatever your place of employment is now open. But they still are limited. They're still minimum manned, or whatever the case may be. And I just think, I was out today. I went to the store in my mask with my gloves, my Clorox wipes, my Purell, because I feel like I have to be extra cautious. And then you get out there and you see so many people still not wearing masks. Like the bare minimum to me is to at least put on a mask. And they're not doing
bare
that.
minimum. No. And my child's daycare opened up today. Obviously she ain't there. We pulled her out before they shut down, and I don't know when or if she's going back, but they are requiring all children over the age of 2 to have a mask. And I'm sitting up here like, what child
That's not gonna work.
What child 2 to 5 years old gonna even keep a mask on? That's number one.
Yeah.
And I'm even, I was telling Todd, I said, I feel like we should be wearing the masks around the house some, because the kids are going to have to get used to wearing them. This is going to be our new normal. I don't know if school starts back in August, but the bare minimum even then will probably be wearing masks then. And so it's odd we've seen all these people on IG like partying. I saw at Gresham Park earlier today. They were just out there having a big old fun time.
Up the street from my house, the soccer field packed today. The
golf course up by me was packed. I was like, oh my gosh.
See, but
get ready for a spike.
At least, and I'm not speaking up for the golfers, but at least with golf, you're hitting your ball and you're hitting your ball or whatever, and you guys have that space between you. But soccer, these kids were all up on each other.
Yeah, but even with golf, it's a party of 4 and probably.
Well, no, but I'm saying, like, at least with golf, if they wanted to, they could say, you can't play 9, you can't play 18 or whatever. You can go to the driving range. They could do that, because of the driving range, you should be spaced out enough.
Now, the driving range is what they close.
Right, but I know driving ranges that are open, but I'm saying that would be the most logical piece to have open at a golf.
They're not doing that, because that's what I'm saying.
They're not doing that.
It was so packed. I've never seen so many people on that golf course.
It was a beautiful day.
It was.
Well, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm like, and people who stereotypically who play golf are not the people who are worried about, or excuse me, those businesses probably are not the ones that are worried about having to fund paying unemployment for their workers. Those people, especially at these private clubs, are paying exorbitant amount, their companies are paying exorbitant amount of money in some cases for them to have those private memberships. And so they are using that money to help fund and pay for some of those things. I'm not saying that's with all of them, but I'm saying golf is not something that I'm worried about in terms of those people still reaping some sort of money.
Some places aren't paying, some businesses aren't paying.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to my boss this morning, and he was like, some of our colleagues and stuff are having to take huge pay cuts or lay people off because because their corporate firms the businesses aren't paying them. So it's just like crazy. But
well, and I know even like it's important if you're a major corporation and you're dealing with vendors who are smaller in nature, those vendors are like, hey, can we get paid early? Can we go ahead and get paid? Can you process this? And it's just like, we can only handle and do so much. I understand the necessity behind it. Don't get me wrong, but it is what it is. It's just like, we're working as fast as we can, which unfortunately, I mean, I understand it. I totally get it.
I saw the news in Buckhead that there was a barber, a Caucasian barber. He was cutting hair, and he had this little old man in his chair, and then there was a line outside his door. And they all had masks on, but only the barber had on a mask, but the older man didn't have on a mask. He was
I was talking to
a barbershop. I'm like, you're breathing all over me.
Well, not only that, but then let's talk about the fact that like my husband's aunt does hair, and she was saying that she mostly is a barber, and so she's like, we are, before all this happened, because they still haven't opened it up yet, they were only allowed to cut the head. They were not doing any facial hair, no beards, because if I'm clipping you, then I gotta clip the next person, and I gotta clip the next person around this area. It's just not safe. But everybody isn't adhering to that. And then I'm gonna go back to one of your points, Jelani, too. Like, yes, the golf courses are still getting paid because a lot of people have paid their annual membership. Some have already paid for the year, whatever. But generally speaking, a lot of those people who work there don't make very much money. And so that's part of the issue too, is that, it's not just running the golf course, it's those people that work there who are the wait staff, who are people who
But what I'm thinking about with them is that at least they could use, if managed correctly, let me preface it with that, if managed correctly, they could potentially use that money to pay their unemployment taxes, whereas some pay into their unemployment taxes and therefore still pay those people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases, they're getting paid more in unemployment than they were getting in their salary, because that's
a lot of them are.
Some people were.
Right? Yeah. But then what I'm saying is, for some of these smaller businesses who might not have been paying into their unemployment taxes,
right.
now, Susie, the employee, doesn't want to come to work, although she feels safe, but I have to fire Susie. So now I have to pay for Susie's unemployment, which is still going to leave a gap in what she was getting. And if I haven't been paying into that unemployment, I don't have any money to pay her because ain't nobody been coming in here.
Right.
That's the cycle we're going to be in.
The government on purpose.
Yeah.
So
right.
Right. And I can't remember who it was for the Chamber of Commerce was on NPR and said, and we understand that the businesses that are going to be impacted the most are going to be those that are run by minorities and immigrants. They understood that would be who they would be impacting.
It's just sad. It's sad. And then, like we were saying about Georgia being the laughing stock, when I say, when he first announced this, and like, that's all you heard on every single news platform was Georgia. And then you had Keisha coming around.
Back up. That was 2 weeks, even 2 weeks before all of that. Georgia was everywhere because the idiot didn't even claimed he didn't know that,
asymptomatic people
could spread the disease too, which is why he decided to shut down. So he opens us up earlier.
Yeah, this is crazy. One of the last things to close, and then he opened us up.
And then when 45 is the one trying to tell you, maybe you're doing this too soon. When 45 is the one making sense in this conversation.
And see, I don't even know that I believe that. I feel like 45 just said that because once all the backlash came, he gonna jump off the boat. It doesn't
matter why, because most of the time he don't backtrack. He stick to what he said. But the fact of the matter is that even if he did
backtrack now.
About what?
He backtracking now about that whole what he said about the
bleach mess.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. He claims that he was being sarcastic, which I pray he was. But there are people who are drinking it.
Yeah,
they already out there getting sick because they listen
but I
to whatever
love that
he says.
Keisha has made her rounds of saying he did not consult with me. He did not consult with the second largest city in Georgia, which is Augusta. He did not consult with that mayor.
Albany. And let's be clear, Bibb County is about to which is Macon. For people who don't know, the city of Macon, their numbers are shooting up, and Albany is still, which has made world news, is the number 2 spot in the world behind New York City. And the fact that you did not consult with any of your mayors, the fact that he has a pandemic team in place and he didn't consult with them either. The only person he talked to before all this was 45.
Yeah.
And we're here. And that's why we're talking about this, because we're here, we're in Georgia, we're in the city of Atlanta. And so we're seeing this. People are out there like, oh, we open, we out here,
But be clear, people were out before this, to be honest.
But
they were really out before
it's a lot worse though now, Kamiko, because even in the nail salons, and I'm gonna say, look, every single one of us on this podcast, we done did our own nails. We're not trying to go to nobody's nail salon, but I seen the nail salons are packed. They're like, you can't even get an appointment for like 3 weeks if you wanted to, because they're packed. People are in there. Are in there.
I think the biggest thing is for people to still
shout out to my nail salon, Cleopatra. They closed.
At the end of the day, you still have to take responsibility for yourself. Look, like the little girl said, worry about yourself. You still have to worry about yourself and do what is best for you in your situation.
Yeah.
And we could very well be out here getting our nails done, probably getting our hair done, because I know people are coming to people's houses getting their hair done. Like, we could be doing all of those things, but I think at the end of the day, you have to take responsibility for yourself and your situation. It's like,
you also have to be your brother's keeper, because
absolutely,
pandemic, and if everybody don't hold each other accountable and say you need to stay at home and you shouldn't open up, then we're gonna, because they said on The View that New Zealand has already been able to open because their cases, they have no new cases.
We have not stayed closed long enough.
Right.
And the fact is, we're going to have another spike. So where everybody thought, oh, we might still be able to have a hot girl summer. Wrong. Wrong.
I ain't bought a piece of clothing for the summer yet.
Look,
y'all gonna catch these clothes y'all saw in 2019.
Girl, look, where they gonna see them at your house?
My tops, just my tops on Zoom. But I mean, Nikki's right. We have to be each other's keeper. It's like, girl, you don't have to go. Look, what have I been sending y'all? You don't have to go to the store to get that. Y'all need paper towels? Link. You need this? Link. Like, there are ways around.
But I also understand that that's from a place of privilege that we're able to do that.
Right.
Because, like, I spent $60 on, shout out to Jelani for being the connect, on paper towels today. Like, some people can't afford to do that just off a whim. Like, I'm sitting up here buying hand sanitizer and whatever else we're getting. But I also understand, like, we're saying people, like, I bought enough groceries for a month. But everybody can't afford to do that. So, and can't afford to have their groceries delivered because they need their coupons and all these other things. So I understand, but you have to do what you have to do, but within reason.
Right.
And the same thing with these hair salons. I know I have a girlfriend and she's in Columbus, Georgia, and she owns a salon. Now, these people aren't getting unemployment, so if she's not open, she's not able to pay her bills, is what her argument is. And people were going back and forth with her, on Facebook and stuff, saying, you're wrong, you shouldn't open, woo, woo. And she's like, look, if I don't open, I can't feed my child. You gonna come help me feed my child? And that's how she was kind of putting it.
I'm wondering what the implication is going to be, too, because the small business money that they were offering ran out, right? So
they did it again. It's happening again, but
but still,
it hadn't quite opened up yet.
But my point is, if I don't open, right, I think that leaves room for them to say, well, you could have been open, therefore you're denied from getting any sort of assistance.
That's exactly.
So if I were a business owner, I might be open, but not really be open. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I'm open and I'm taking business, but I'm taking clients, but I might not really let anybody come in. I might be like, oh, we're booked. I mean, I don't know, because you have to be open in order to get the money.
The people so how are you gonna pay your rent?
Well, that's if you got the small business, it's two different things, right? So because the governor opened us up, people who are business owners who under normal circumstances would never get any unemployment, we're going to be able to get the $600 from the federal government. But now that we're open and they can't get the $300 from the state or the $600 from the Fed. So now they're in a situation where, well, maybe I can get this small business loan. To Jelani's point, I might be open, but I'm not open because I want to get the money. But you got to get the money first. Yeah. They're doing another round that starts, I don't know, in a day or so. But we know that if you don't have a really big relationship with your bank, you probably aren't going to get the loan. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of that simple.
I think it also teaches us, whether you're, you have no business, whether you have a small business, whether you're a part of a business, a team of a business, thinking of a business, that we have to plan for things like this. Because sometimes we don't really do that. It's just like, okay, well, what are my operational costs? And people don't always think about these types of things, but it's like, what is my contingency? What's my plan? And, I think sometimes some of our small businesses, in particular, in our community, don't get that education to be able to do that.
Well, I think the other part of this too is, like, for instance, I'll talk about the daycare just because I know the owner. They have insurance, they had contingencies for all these other things, but their insurance doesn't cover a pandemic.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's another piece of this where a lot of businesses were prepared for kind of, some kind of big thing happening, but a pandemic has never really happened here in the U.S. in our lifetime.
Katrina too. They had hurricane insurance, but they didn't have flood insurance.
Exactly. So there's things that you can prepare for, but there are things that you can't. There are loopholes that you can't.
I wonder because of this.
That's why the Fed has to step in.
But I wonder too. This is my last point. I wonder too what is going to be the implications with regard to insurance in the future. What types of premiums and things like that are people going to have to now pay? Because insurance companies are going to be like, well, now we got to plan for something like this. How much extra is this going to start costing people and businesses?
Mm-hmm. I don't know, because right now the insurance company isn't really impacted because most of them don't have a pandemic payout.
Right.
So, they're not, but I guess if somebody wanted to buy it, but I don't know, that's something, I don't know. Because it's like, even if you got it, if they did a rider this year for a pandemic, they still not going to cover COVID in 2021.
Oh, correct. Correct.
Right.
But now it's going to be one of those things where people are, it's something that people have lived through. So now, whereas you'd be like, you know what, that's probably like 1 in a million chances that's going to happen. Well, hell, it happened now. I'll take it. How much extra is it? Slide my card. Like, you see what I'm saying? We've lived through that now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, I can't think of a good example right now, but I'm like, there are certain things I bought because I'm like, you know what, that did happen to me one time and we cannot do that again. You know?
I mean, you think about the time where, like Nikki just said, Katrina, even out in Cobb County, they had those really huge floods about a decade ago or so.
Right.
And there were places that weren't in floodplains that couldn't get flood insurance because you were not in a floodplain that flooded. And so it's just all but again, the state had to step in and so did the Fed. It had to be declared a national emergency, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, part of this is why the Fed is supposed to step in when a state of emergency happens. That's why we have a federal government, because when things like this happen that are unprecedented, you have a federal government that can handle it.
Right.
And when you have a lack of leadership at the federal
level,
level,
definitely have that.
This is what happens.
That's what bothers me so much, because people were
so
concerned about, oh, he's a businessman, oh, he can help with the economy, but if you don't know how to govern, it don't matter. Like, I don't care.
And when all your businesses have failed.
Yes, I know. And I'm just like, now our economy is messed up too, and we're going to go into a depression. It scares me though.
Right. Well, and also I saw on the news, there's a lot of other states that are following right behind us now and are about to start doing
mostly Republican led.
Yes, Republican led Southern.
So I'm scared because I feel like you said, these numbers are about to spike. So what can we do?
I think
Stay prayerful.
It's scary enough being in the situation that we're in. I can't imagine I can't imagine.
Right. Day drinking.
Right. I can't imagine some of the other situations that I know people are in, like people who are pregnant having to go to their appointments alone. People
my gosh.
Just had babies, like, you know, like having to go to the emergency room because you have a true emergency, non-COVID related. It's like, oh my God, can I breathe the air in here? Probably not. What should I do? Like all of those things. And I think that's why we have to pay. Nikki always says, you know, she talks to us about our local elections. And I know you are on that too, Kamiko, but it's just like, we have to pay attention to those things. It's like, who is going to be making the decision for us in times such as this?
Yeah, because you see.
And I did not early vote. So
it's so important. The mayors of your cities and commissioners are so important.
Your school board.
Yes, exactly.
Because I didn't even know that until shout out to Nakima because she posted it. I didn't even know that there was like this rule or this thing in the state of Georgia about masks. And so then
it's a lot of states like that.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even know
about you covering your face. You're not supposed to.
It kind of goes back to the KKK days or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're not supposed to be able to cover your face, which is why I don't know if y'all saw the video of the guys that were in Walmart and the police were like, you can't wear your mask. They were like, everybody else in here got on a mask. Why we can't wear our mask? Because we black. And they made them get out.
Right.
Yeah, the Walmart people was like, this ain't us. We didn't ask them. That was just some people, some police officers that followed them into the Walmart, made them leave because they had on masks. So there is that on the books, and that's what prompted some senators in different states to try to put a kibosh on that.
So this is definitely our new normal, and for a little while it's going to be. So I know that we still have a lot to talk about when it comes to coronavirus, COVID-19, the Rona.
Can I ask y'all one question before we go?
Go ahead.
What y'all gonna do when it's time to go back to work?
We ain't going back to work, B.
Okay, think that if you want.
No, I mean, okay.
Right.
Reality.
So
eventually we will, right? I think what will happen is there will be some businesses that will evaluate how much money they have saved operationally against what it will cost in terms of outfitting new infrastructure, new processes, new people, new third-party vendors in order to have their employees to return back to work. There will be some businesses, smaller businesses, that will probably look at that and say, you can probably still stay at home. There are going to be some larger companies that are going to say, okay, look, these are the people that have to be back. You know, you might work in a lab, you might work in some sort of, some sort of environment where it was just like, well, this is not happening unless you're here.
Some of them people are still at work.
Right.
Are already there.
Right.
They're
Right.
there
And
now.
so some of those
they never
people
left.
have to come back
right.
first.
They're
and then
essential.
I think they're going to, this ability to come into these major corporations, if you are a guest or a vendor, I think that's going to cease. I think they're going to stop feeding people in these large corporations because that is a huge risk. And so then you have to look at a lot of these larger campuses were designed for you to go and stay. You can get your dry cleaning done. You can work out. You got therapists. We can deliver your groceries. All of these things that will cease. And so then it's like, well, if you're coming, I think so. I think it will. It's too much risk. And then if
okay, think about this, like how you said, okay, the food and stuff. If it's not safe to feed them, how they gonna feed these kids in K through 12?
That's what I think is still going to be an issue. I think it's still going to be an issue. Some people are talking about taking out like the coffee stations in their rooms.
Well, see, I don't know that I don't know that feeding the kids is going to be the issue because they're feeding the kids now. I mean,
if you are in a cafeteria, like kids go to a big cafeteria, and
it's going to be one of these things where you can only
they may be like eating in their classrooms now, like how some schools used to do. They'll probably just do that.
At a time, or 12 of you can eat at a time, and you got to sit here.
If they're in a classroom, they'll probably just do that.
But even in a classroom, especially when you talk about public school, it's still 30 kids in a classroom.
Yeah, I think that's
they're back to back to back to back. How are you gonna social distance in a classroom?
I think all of that is still going to change. These class sizes are going to be smaller. It's all going to be different.
How you gonna?
See,
we don't have enough time to build a whole school. If they could have made class sizes smaller, believe me, they would have by now.
I don't think that they are going to.
They can't in 3 months. They can't in 3 months.
I think that when the kids come back, whenever that, if they do come back in August, I think that it'll start with like masks. They'll say that, like you said about the daycare, it'll be, mandatory for the kids to wear these masks. There will be some differences. Like even if you guys have seen in the grocery store where they have, even though people don't even pay any attention to it, where they say you're supposed to shop down this way, so you're only supposed to go this way and then go that way. People weren't paying no attention to that, but I think that there'll be a lot of those rules with the kids. You still have to, they'll move desks around and stuff like that. I don't know that they can make smaller classrooms because there's not enough room as it is.
There's not. Most of them are overcrowded as is.
Maybe they might do like altering days is what something that may happen, but I still think that they'll go back to being in the classroom and they'll just have on masks.
I think it's going to
I don't think they're going back soon. I don't think that, because let's just say now, if they decided they want these kids, I would not send my child back. I would not send either one of my children back to school. The daycare is open. I'm still paying. And guess what?
But what about in August? If the numbers have declined greatly?
If the numbers have, but the fact that we're closed and now we're open too soon, chances are, the projections are that there's going to be a spike. And is he going to close down again? Like, how does all this work out?
I don't know. I would really feel comfortable going back anywhere with a large group of people.
Right.
Until we have a vaccine.
Process in place.
I need a
clear.
You're not going to have a vaccine.
Or a very clear process for how it's supposed to take place. And that's why I think a lot of people won't go back to work. And
even when we get a vaccine, most people aren't going to take it.
Yeah, a lot of y'all ain't taking it.
Right. But then
even if we get one,
like people aren't going to go back to work. They're going to be these swing shifts. Some people are going to come in this time. Some people are going to come.
Yeah.
People don't even take their flu shot. So why would they take the corona shot?
And at the end of the day, we've all proven that we can work from home.
For real. Now that's real.
Yeah.
That's really real.
We shall see.
Y'all, this is a lot.
I know. It's a lot. Y'all pray for us in Georgia. We need it.
Y'all pray for us. We pray for you.
We're pray for everybody.
Because this is insane. But we're going to get
through
me
it. And mine, we going to stay right here.
Wave. Vote for Joe. Whatever. I'm serious.
All right, ladies. I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Love Chat Podcast. Y'all, my birthday is on Saturday.
We're having a swap meet at your house.
I mean, y'all supposed to at least say happy birthday.
I just said happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
It's my Corona birthday, y'all.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
It's hard to sing together.
I know it is.
And it's about to be May.
Oh. Isn't that crazy? You had your Corona birthday in March, and now we're about to have.
And now I'm about to have another whole Corona birthday and Mother's Day.
And Mother's Day.
And Father's Day. Look, and Father's Day. Let's just prepare. 4th of July, Corona style. Y'all better be ordering y'all.
My father-in-law's birthday is right after yours. Then we got Mother's Day. Then the day after Mother's Day, my baby girl's birthday. So I'm about to have I gotta bake another cake.
Girl. And my shout out to my 2020 senior. As of May 1st, they're officially done with school. So there's that.
Oh. Look, we haven't talked about it. Have y'all figured out what y'all gonna do?
Oh no, we haven't. We don't know. What can we do? Drive by. I don't know. Yeah. It's so sad.
You know, I think one of the best ideas that I've seen, shout out to Westlake, but Tri-Cities is doing a parade, which I think has been the best idea that I've seen thus far.
That is
so
smart.
Basically, it's smart. All the kids will be in their own car. Hopefully, you get one that got a convertible or a sunroof. They have a route. People along the route is a very long route, and I think they get to. They'll call their name at some point, so like if you and Jamal are in the car with her, so y'all will hear them call her name. You get to drive by a stage or something like that. But then along the route, if you have family and friends and other people who want to see them ride by, you could decorate the car and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was a really good idea. I mean, people are having to be really creative with this because it's just not going to be what you're used to.
Yeah. Sad but true. Yeah. All right, ladies. So we're going to wrap up this episode of the Love Chat podcast. I want to remind all of our listeners to please follow us on all social media platforms at the Love Chat podcast. Feel free to let us know what you think of this week's episode. Also, if it's something that you would like for us to discuss, please send us a love letter at the lovechatpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to like. And if you're looking at us on YouTube, subscribe right there on that button. Rate and review. Okay, ladies. Cheers. Corona style.
We're going to all have a problem when this is over.
All right. Until next time. Peace.
Bye.